Well, good morning and welcome in. It is Mornings in Meridian here on this Thursday morning here in the city of Meridian, Lauderdale County in East Mississippi, August the 10th. Hope everybody's having a great start to their morning. Hour number one of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi. And, of course, our friends over in West Alabama. And, of course, our number, you know it, but if you don't, we're going to give it to you right now, 601-485-9191. Of course, online at WALTmeridian.com. And we are on Facebook Live right now. Of course, head over to Facebook, like and follow us there on FB, as the cool kids call it. That's WALT Talk Radio on Facebook. And also, we're going to give you details about how you can win $5,000 from WALT as well, as Toby's eyes perk up. Good morning. Good morning. I am Rob, and joined by the good doctor, Dr. Toby Bates, this morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Outstanding. I appreciate you having me on and giving me this opportunity, first and foremost, to tell everyone who voted for me, I appreciate it.
You were the right end.
I was.
You were the right end.
I appreciate it very much. No, I do not believe race was a factor in my defeat. And I want to get that out there right away. And for those wondering, yes, before I run again, I will remove the birthmark. It wasn't quite the help we thought it would be. We did a little polling on that. People said the birthmark will go a long way.
Oh, man.
It did not.
Oh, boy.
So we're going to get that taken off.
You good?
I'm
good. You good now?
I'm good now.
You got your concession speech out of the way?
That's exactly right.
Well, we are going to continue talking about the local races. I know it was a blitz yesterday, and we really didn't get a lot of local reaction from you folks out there because we wanted to give you the race-by-race results. And, of course, what we gave you yesterday and we'll continue to give you this morning is still unofficial because they still have to certify everything, of course. And once we get that stamp, we'll be ready to go. But I'm pretty sure that process will be done today, I would assume, because there was still some affidavits out there they had to get, kind of squared away.
That's right.
And Donna Jill Johnson called the show yesterday and kind of gave us a rundown of everything that went on Tuesday, and she was very thorough in that process, so they have to certify that. But we will have some runoffs, and we'll talk more about that this morning. But I want to get your take on the statewide race. Mm-hmm. Of course, I know that we talked about that some yesterday, but we really focused on the races in Lauderdale County. But I want to get more into that statewide race stuff here today on Mornings in Meridian. And it might touch a little bit on national, and hopefully not ask Biden any lousy questions like Mr. Ducey did yesterday. But anyway, hey, this portion of Mornings in Meridian is brought to you by, I tell you what, I was headed back from an event. I've told this story a couple of times, but going to go ahead and tell Toby as well. I was headed back from an event in North Mississippi a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden I heard bam on my windshield, and it was a rock that flew up and cracked my windshield, and I had to go get it fixed. And immediately my wife said, well, take it to A&A tomorrow. So that's what I did, and they got it fixed fast. A&A Glass.
They're the best. They're simply the best. And you're right. There's certain sounds that you should not hear when you're driving, right?
No.
Yeah, you get into the zone of hearing the if you're driving through Meridian, hearing the road underneath you. A few gunshots maybe in the distance.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple of potholes here and there. But no, what you do not want to hear is the sound of any kind of impact, because when it hits that windshield, especially with this hot weather we've been having.
Oh yeah.
A little dink or a dank can become a very big crack very, very quickly. We generally associate a crack in a windshield running with cold weather, but actually hot weather can cause that to happen as well. So what you want to do, folks, is you want to go to A&A Glass, and you want to see the best, because they are simply the best. Now, I can give you the fancy way of where they are, 217 22nd Avenue. But, folks, you all know where they're 2 doors down from the Children's Museum. Adam and Adam have over 10 years experience getting your glass fixed and getting it fixed right. And what's kind of neat is I'm seeing parents, who are teenagers, right, who got their windshields fixed. They're now going and taking their, their kids' cars there and things like that, to get them fixed. Because going back to school, a lot of kids have some new vehicles to ride, or some new to them anyway, used vehicles.
Oh yeah.
And you want those windshields to be safe. So you cannot do any better than A&A Glass, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Go by MCM. It's the best way to get your glass fixed and get it fixed fast. 693 Glass is what, as you said earlier, the cool kids call it.
That's right.
But it's 693-4527. Go by and see them today, A&A Glass.
All right, let's go to the phone line this morning. Our number, we'll give it out to you again. We always do that. I like to kind of be regular with that. 601-485-9191. Hey, caller, welcome in. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen, and Dr. Bates. How y'all doing today?
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Well, I just want to say one thing.
Yes, sir.
If you have a brand new car in your shop that you're putting a wrap on,
Yeah.
and one of your employees rolls the window up with the door frame taken apart, you need A&A glass.
Oh, boy.
Quickly.
Quickly.
And, they got that, the new laminated glass. A lot of the side windows in the new cars, you can't break. It's like a windshield.
Wow.
It's laminated, and, yeah, they even got that, too.
But, Zane, don't you like their no-giggle policy, too? I like that. Is you go by and see them, and it's obvious that the driver's done something really dumb to their car.
Yeah.
Do they have a no-giggle policy? I didn't know that.
Well, there's
They
your
do
giggle.
with me.
Yeah, Adam answered, and I'm like, Adam, man, I got a problem. I got a 2023 car in here. I need a side window in, and he kind of giggled.
Oh, that's great. So, well, Zane, hey, appreciate the mic flag for our coverage the other night, and I'm still learning that I need to turn it a certain way.
Yeah, you got to learn how to use it. When you need to make a mark on top of it.
Yeah, I do. I need to make a little cheat little mark on the back of it. You're right.
Yep, that's it.
But
and,
that
thing did look good.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and of course, as soon as I got done with the show yesterday, I went home and slept all day. It was a long Tuesday night.
You do sleep from time to time.
I did sleep yesterday. Yeah. It was amazing. It was the first ever, I think. So.
Well, I've been up since like 3 o'clock this morning working. So.
But Zane, don't you get the idea that sometimes there's 3 or 4 Robs? There's like triplets we don't know about. There's a Rob, a Randy, and a Raul.
Raul?
Hey, I'm probably out working, though. That's the problem.
You probably
Indeed.
do. You probably do.
Yeah, because I'm speaking to you right now from the side of North Hill Street. Now I'm up on a super slide. Put a wrap on the side of it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Well, did you
So
sleep?
anybody going by North Hill Street, blow the horn.
Blow the horn.
Are you sleeping well because of the election results? Or are you feeling good about how everything went down?
Yeah, I think everything's good.
Yeah, we're going to have a runoff in a couple of races. So, well, we expected one of them for sure. Well, really, we thought we were going to have 3.
Right.
But that District 1 judge spot did not go to a runoff. So.
That surprised me.
It did me too.
Really did.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that was overwhelming.
The sheriff's race, I wish it would have had a different outcome. But we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay.
We had 2 really good candidates in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which way the coroner's race is going to go, but it looks like we're going to have 2 good candidates in there. So,
sure.
We're not going to be hurt.
Yeah, I think the counties are going to be in good hands.
That's it.
So, well, very good. Anything else going on while you're wrapping a slide?
That's about it. Just trying to beat the heat.
Yeah, I
Got
know.
about another hour to work out here, and I'm going to have to give up and come back again in the morning.
There you go. So,
Zane, why is it everything you do sounds dirty? Or sounds like something we can't talk about on the air?
but we do anyway.
Yeah, that's right. We stopped by Zane's house and caught him wrapping a slide. And the other time you were building that Ferris wheel part or whatever, and it did. It sounded like something we couldn't say on the air.
Well,
Maybe this is my mind.
I guess I'm just an entertaining kind of guy. I don't know. Or maybe you're just a guy that's a dirty mind and reads that much into it.
It may be.
I'm a little concerned about that, too.
Yeah, we need to reevaluate things.
But hey, Toby, you gonna be in town tomorrow too?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, he'll be
I
in.
might holler at you tomorrow.
Yep, he'll be here.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. I'm listening Facebook Live. What little bit of signal I got up here, and Buddy's in the truck, and he doesn't like me turning it up too loud, so he gets kind of irritated.
Only if we say his name on the radio, right?
Yeah, then he starts barking.
There we
Especially
go.
if you tell him you got a hamburger for him.
Oh boy, yeah, he'll be busting our door down wanting that. So
Yeah, can't say hamburger.
there we
He
go.
doesn't know what that is, but a hamburger.
Hamburger?
He knows what that is. That's it.
All right, my friend, good to hear from you this morning.
You guys have a wonderful day. Take care.
I love it. So
Now, I'm assuming Buddy is a canine and not
Yes.
an assistant helper from up north or something,
no, that is
Okay.
that is the K9.
Well, I've got a cousin,
Buddy's famous. Buddy's been on TV. He's done commercials. He's kind of a famous dog in the Queen City.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Well, I must meet Buddy then.
Absolutely.
What kind of
So,
dog is he?
He's a dog.
Mixed dog?
Yeah, I don't want to give out his identity. So,
Well, that's true. He might like his privacy.
because I mean, he wants his privacy. You know, he's going to be signing 8x10 glossies later. You know, putting his paw print on there. So,
That's exactly right.
Good morning to folks on Facebook Live. I see Zena out there. I appreciate you watching. And Joe is watching this morning, our good friend Joe from Chunky. So she said, good morning, how you?
Call in, Joe.
Yeah.
Let me hear that sweet, calming voice, which is just so soothing early in the morning.
Yeah, Zena just said he identifies as a lap dog.
Zena does?
He identifies as a lap dog, talking about Buddy. So
You live your truth.
there you go. So 601-485-9191. Of course, Facebook Live, WALT Talk Radio, and of course our stream online as well, WALTmeridian.com. Well, Toby, before we get into some of these local races to get your take on that, let's talk statewide. We really didn't go in depth on that yesterday because we obviously were focused on the local stuff, which we'll get more into today because we want to hear from our listeners out there and get their reactions to all the results from Tuesday night. But obviously the lieutenant governor's race was the big one Tuesday night. Just kind of get your take on how that all hashed out. So,
Well, it's the passion behind the races is what's getting me. I mean, there's no gray here. Even talking about the governor's race, but as well with lieutenant governor, there are folks who either there's not anyone sitting at home. My point is, it's you either like who's there or you do not like who's there. And just as we heard Zane a few seconds ago say, well, we had two good candidates in this race and two good candidates. I think we're going to be okay. That does not seem to exist in either a governor or lieutenant governor's race.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what you're picking up on? Or
well, I mean, it's tough to beat an incumbent.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think locally, I don't think that rings completely true in most cases. Maybe I'm wrong, but these statewide races, I'm telling you, there was so much money poured into this one. I mean, folks, you know it as well as I do. The mailers you got out there, you probably get maybe one or two a day for several days straight. You know, campaign ads. I mean, that got really nasty over the last couple of weeks. There was PAC money spent on one side or the other. Records were put out there, you know, defending. I mean, it just got really bad and really nasty down the stretch. But I thought Chris McDaniel ran a good race. But with Delbert Hoseman, I mean, I tell you what, there was a lot of money behind that. A lot of money behind that.
And a lot of folks wondering, since there's so much name recognition already there,
Right.
why did you have to put so much money into that?
Well, I'm going to say this, too. We got a caller on the line here. I don't think I'm out of turn by saying this. You know, Delbert Hoseman had a genius ad campaign when he first ran for Secretary of State.
Yes.
And, of course, when he had his first run as lieutenant governor, sitting on the park bench with Engelbert, you know, always getting his name wrong. Everybody, it was cute. But this campaign, we saw a different side of Mr. Hoseman, you know, because he was defending himself and his record, and he went after Chris McDaniel, exposing his voting record or whatnot. I mean, you know, look at whatever story you want to look at and do your research on that. But we just saw a different side of Hoseman I don't think we've ever seen before when it came to campaigning. Now, he still had, you know, the park bench ads, which I think he did want to abandon that. But it was just a different side that we saw, unlike the other two times he ran for office.
And it's tricky, too, because when you are being challenged on your record, sometimes some people would say being challenged in some unfair ways, some would say. I mean, you don't expect him to sit there and just take it.
Sure.
You know, so he's going to respond. But you're right. There were a great many people that I talked to and I heard from that were like, yeah, this is not what I voted for last time. You know, and I'm still going to vote for him. But this is a side I haven't seen before. Yeah. And it concerns me a little bit.
Yeah. So that was some of the feelings I got as well. So 601-485-9191. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
We're doing great, sir. How you?
Yeah, they paving 14th Street down here. Did y'all see that?
I have seen that. Yes, sir.
Well, they got a bunch of rows on that construction.
Oh, no. God.
he got down to that main intersection down there yesterday.
Yeah.
And he tried to turn that roller around out in the middle of the intersection. I thought he was going to mash 9 cars.
Holy smokes.
And the people on the ground were screaming at him.
Wow.
No. You don't turn the roller around. You just flip the seat around and go back the same way.
There you go. I love it.
And he couldn't understand a word, and he couldn't understand all the sign language. He finally got down, and I thought they was going to go to fisticuffs.
Oh, my goodness. Well, what do you think about the election results from Tuesday night?
I see nobody loves our flag that we got lost. That's mighty bad.
Yeah, we were just talking about the lieutenant governor's race, and
we deserve everything we get.
Yeah,
Not getting up on our butts and go broke.
yeah, we're going to talk about more about the folks who voted here in Lauderdale County, because Toby was breaking down those numbers when he first got here this morning. But yeah, it's a lot of folks who register, but they're not getting off there, as Billy Jack would say, their duffs and going out and voting.
Well, I vote down at the Boys and Girls Club, and I went down there about 5 o'clock, and I went about 3 people down there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pleasant.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to vote at Congress organization. I used to hate that place.
Right.
So right at quitting time, there were only about 3 people there? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
About that, yeah. It was so much. I was trying to get signed in. I didn't look at the book to see how many showed up there.
Yeah, I know when I voted my precinct at 2:30 on Tuesday, I was 130. So, and that was, so.
You know, I was telling Rob a few days ago that there's a young lady that works with my wife up in North Mississippi at a nursing home, and her husband has just become a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
And he's from our friends down south, right? And he came through the proper way, right?
Well,
and
God bless him.
And because of all the programs that are in place, his wife actually asked him, why are you still going through becoming a citizen? You can still do everything, get everything, do everything just about. And he really looked at her kind of hard, and he said, I get to vote.
How about that?
And he educated her right there on what a big deal it is to get to vote. And we're reminded of this every single time we have an election, aren't we?
Yeah.
That this is, our freedoms aren't arbitrarily passed down from generation to generation. We got to stand up and fight for them, especially the last 20 years, it seems like.
Yes, sir.
Right? And here's this fellow educating his wife, who's American born, right, saying, I want to be able to vote. That is something that Americans really take for granted, and the rest of us around the world really want to be able to do. And so it was a nice little reminder of how fortunate we are. And then you see, of course, the voting turnout numbers, and it's quite sad.
Well, there's about 15 million done come across the border.
And counting.
And counting, and all these people vote the way they do to where it's legal, and it's all right for it to go on. All the working people's going to lose their jobs to these people.
Right.
Because they work for cheap, and they work 15, 20 hours a day. Because
right.
They hadn't brought up in a free society where you got everything handed to you. And there's going to be millions of Americans lose their job for these people.
Sure.
The way of life they come from, they appreciate a job. America doesn't.
Yeah. Well, all right, my friend. Well, always good to hear from you. And any other reports this morning?
I've seen a bunch of guns yesterday, but there wasn't no battles last night.
No battles last night. There you go.
That I heard.
Yeah, well, that's one night.
Yeah, they parking their car on the hill up and walking down. I don't understand that part.
There you go. Well, we appreciate you always checking in with us, my friend.
All right, good day.
All right, have a good one. All right.
We had a military wedding in my family a few weeks ago. Well, there were guns there. Let's put it that way.
I would expect it. Good morning from Richard Burke. Not Roger Burke, but Brother Richard, listening down in hot and sunny Central Florida. Actually watching us on Facebook Live this morning. So, and we know our sound's kind of going in and out, so just kind of give us time to buffer that out as we kind of move along this morning. But we're a couple of minutes away from a Fox News break. Before we get into that break, let's thank our friends down at Ready to Roof. And, well, folks, if you need a new roof, they are certified. They are our only locally professional roofing company in town.
That's right, Master Elite certified.
Master Elite certified.
Absolutely. Folks, they'll come out and give you a free estimate on your roof. And a lot of people are surprised when they come out and say, "We don't really need one."
There you go.
Just kind of watch this for a little while and give us a call when you actually need one. And folks that will come out and see us, 601-573-1150, 573-1150. Again, I have to point to this extreme heat we've been having. It will age a roof very quickly, and a roof is very important for resale of a home. So if you just don't know anything about roofs, you can trust these folks to tell you what you need to know and what you need to have if you need it. Ready to Roof, 601-573-1150. It's a big investment. Leave it to the experts. Ready to Roof.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Mornings in Meridian, and when we come back, we'll get more into the local races as we continue to kind of peel back some of that onion and get Toby's take on the turnout. Toby's Take.
Toby's Take.
Sound like a new segment here on the show. We'll be back. I also got Your Money Now and Fox News here on Mornings in Meridian. 485-9191. That's our number. We'll be back. A little Diamond Rio as we come back in here on Mornings in Meridian. Gene Johnson from Diamond Rio is turning 74 today, so he's on the birthday list today. So, of course, you can catch Diamond Rio on our sister station, The Legend, 105.7. Other birthdays, Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull is 76 today. And the late Jimmy Dean, he would have been 95 today. Of course, we lost him back in 2010. And looking at some other birthdays here, Antonio Banderas.
Zorro.
He is turning 63 today.
He was in the latest.
I am Puss.
That's
In Boots.
In Boots, yes. He was also in the latest Indiana Jones movie.
He did. He made an appearance in that one.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah.
Don't fall in love with the character.
Yeah, very briefly. Also, Rosanna Arquette is 64 today. Of course, she did that Pulp Fiction thing once upon a time. And let's see who else we got on the list here. Boxing champion Riddick Bowe is 56 today. He used to knock a few people out back in the day. Mm-hmm. And just for you, Toby, reality star Kylie Jenner is 26 today. I know you're all about the Kardashians.
Oh, I have all their trading cards.
And if you love the reality TV thing, reality star Mama June Shannon. Yes, Honey Boo Boo. Mama is turning 44 today.
Oh, my God.
Honey Boo Boo. Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
What's fun is to go to a flea market. You were talking about Joe earlier, You go to a flea market and you see all the books by these folks.
Yeah.
The Duck Dynasty folks, these folks, whose shows were so hot at one time, and you can get their books really, really cheap now.
Yeah, see, how do they have her listed here? Yeah, Mama June Shannon is 44. Here comes Honey Boo Boo. And also, I know, Mama June from Not to Hot. That was actually a show. Not sure if it's still on or not. Maybe in syndication, possibly. Don't know if they got that deal worked out or not. But yeah, Mama June from Not to Hot.
Not to Hot.
Yeah. And also, forgot to throw this one out there. The late entrepreneur, Leo Fender, would have had a birthday today. Of course, when you hear the name Fender, what do you think of?
A little bass.
Little bass, little guitar right there. Yeah, the bass guitars, and amplifiers he designed for the 1940s are still relevant. Of course, the 1950s Fender Telecaster was the first mass-produced solid-body electric guitar. In 54, the Fender Stratocaster was among the world's most iconic electric guitars, but the 1951's Fender Precision Bass set the standard for electric bass guitars. So there you go. Leo Fender passed away in 91, but he would have a birthday day. And also, historically, the late President of the United States, Herbert Hoover, was born on this day. So our nation's 31st president. He was also the first president to have a phone on his desk.
How about that?
So there you go. So
he lived. He was president in the 20s into the 30s, and he was still pretty active in the 60s.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So he would have a birthday today. So there you go. I always had the late president of the United States. Well, of course.
Would you like some historian humor? It's really bad. I mean, it's right up there with dad. It's up there with dad jokes.
It's okay. Do it.
Student once asked me if they named the vacuum cleaner,
of course,
after Herbert Hoover because he sucked so bad. Yeah. Hey, I asked you.
Yeah.
I prepped it.
That's
no
okay.
microaggressions here. No trigger warnings.
That's okay.
I'm still back on hot to not, or is it not to hot?
Not Mama June. That's where your mind's at, Mama June.
I don't generally associate Mama June with hotness.
From not to hot.
Right. Now, if the show was called From No to Hell No, then that would be, perhaps something I would lean towards watching.
I always make fun of shows like this and these big movie executives. I just feel like they all go into this big boardroom and like, all right, what's the big idea today? Mm-hmm. And somebody brought that forward. Let's continue the Honey Boo Boo train here, and let's go with a Mama June show.
Yes.
I mean, that's what, and it's like, with movies nowadays, it's like, what can we do that we haven't done before? I don't know. Hey, let's remake a cartoon into a live action movie.
Sure.
Let's just go and do all that.
Sure. My wife's favorite program is basically a skin doctor working on people.
Not the pimple popper.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Kathy loves that.
Yeesh.
Loves that show. And she's like, and then she gets excited. She's like, oh, I've never seen this one before. Well, how's it going to, it's like watching Lawrence Welk. How's it going to be any different than what you've seen before? Or Gilligan's Island. They almost get off the island and Gilligan screws it up, right? But she's like, oh, this, and then she knows what they're called. This guy's got a symbiosis, Bidenitis, whatever.
Bidenitis.
Yeah. And then they do their backstory, I get a big lump on my head, right? And then they sad music in the background. He was not loved as a kid. The dogs wouldn't play with him, And then she does this miraculous thing, which we used to all do as teenagers, right? Before the dance, he cleans his face and pops this thing. And now he's back, and they're using a brighter filter on the camera, and the music's all happy, and life is just wonderful. And Kathy's like, I might record this one and watch this one again.
Made me feel good.
Yes, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I love it. See, we're hitting the hard subjects this morning, folks.
That's exactly right.
Before we move on here, we're going to get into more election talk from Lauderdale County from back on Tuesday. But, folks, if you want to get a good meal to start your day and talk about these local politics, well, the place to do it, it's at the Magnolia Restaurant at the Queen City Truck Stop, just off of exit 150.
You're exactly right, folks. All around Lauderdale County, it's known, actually further than Lauderdale County, if you want to keep up with what's going on, it's WALT 102.1.
There you go.
But if there's a place, that you want to go that, you want to talk to folks and actually see them in 3D, it's Magnolia Restaurant, the Queen City Truck Stop, folks. That's where you can see them, exit 150 right here in Meridian. If your breakfast or if any of your meals have an expiration date, you're not getting good, fresh meals. You can get that amazing Rise and Shine breakfast at Magnolia Restaurant. You can get that right now. Really, you can get that anytime.
Yeah, you can.
And today being Thursday, you got the pot roast today.
Boy.
And it's, if you don't need a toothpick after eating pot roast, it's not the right kind of pot roast.
You're right.
Right? So, folks, friendly service, you're going to see someone down there. It's like going to prayer meeting. You're going to run across somebody you haven't seen in a good long while. Exit 150, right here in Meridian, Queen City Truck Stop. Go by the Magnolia Restaurant, get a good meal, see a good friend, and let folks treat you special. Go by and see them today.
All right, let's go back to the phone line at 601-485-9191. Hey, caller, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Listen, I want to tell everybody this is Ben Shirley.
Hey.
I want to tell everybody that supported me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
We come up short. It was apparent based on the people's vote that they wanted to keep going with the previous decades of leadership. So,
yes, sir.
Unfortunately, a lot of people talk about change, but when you put the same people or incumbents, so to speak, back in office, you don't get change, you get more of the same.
Ben, I was going to ask you, we got the county numbers here for Lauderdale County, but what ended up being the percentage on that as a whole?
I think it was 54-47, 385 votes.
Man, you ran a heck of a race, Ben. You really did.
That was 3 counties or pieces.
Sure.
A majority of one county, Newton, and then basically District 5 in Lauderdale County, and Snell and Energy boxes in Clark County, which Newton and Clark had somewhere around close to, best I could tell, about a 50% less turnout than it did 4 years ago.
That's interesting.
But anyway, hey, listen. Just hold your head up high and just keep moving forward.
That's right.
I congratulate Steve. He won the race. It's always next time for something else.
That's right.
Or that job. But anyway, just wanted to call in and tell you guys, I appreciate being on the show.
Yes,
and
sir.
I appreciate everyone's support in the communities in District 81.
Well, don't be a stranger, Ben. You always got a spot to call in on here anytime. So
I certainly appreciate it.
All right.
Gentlemen, have a great.
Thank you, sir. All right, there you go. Ben Shirley, of course, was candidate for District 81, House seat. Of course, that one, I think a lot of folks really expected that one was going to be razor thin. It ended up being very, very close between Horn, the incumbent, and Ben Shirley, the challenger there.
Well, it says a lot, too, that you're going, as he said, you're going up against the incumbent, which has some, unfairly or not, has some built-in advantages.
Sure.
And you come that close,
Yeah.
right? It says a lot about who you are as an individual and how people think about you.
Yeah, Ben ran a very good campaign, I thought, and Mr. Horn did too. I mean, we got to give credit to both candidates there, and the people came out and voted, and the county numbers. I know I gave you all the sheets over there on the county numbers. Let me.
That's Ben's there, and this is the.
Let's see.
That's the main one.
There we go. All right.
Right there.
Let's see here. Yeah, the county numbers here in Lauderdale County on 81. Yeah, Steve Horn had 2,494. Ben Shirley was 2,115. So you see there in Lauderdale County, it was razor thin in Lauderdale County, and I think overall, as he just gave us the percentages on that, it was pretty darn close. So, but I thought Shirley ran a solid race right there, and like I said, an incumbent, it's tough. It really is tough. So especially Steve Horn, who's been in that position for a little while now. So to get your take, Toby, on the voter turnout, we talked about the sheriff's race was really going to be kind of the one that steered this whole thing. And 41,000 plus registered in Lauderdale County. We ended up having 16,164. We talked about that in length yesterday. It was better. It was, about 39% turnout for the folks that are registered. Good, but still not great. I mean, you try to put some kind of a spin on it, kind of putting lipstick on a pig, I guess you would say. But still, it's not great numbers. So.
Yeah, and two things. Ben mentioned this as well, is that, when the incumbent wins, the natural thought is that, okay, well, everyone must be completely satisfied with the way things are going. But when you look at the turnout numbers, that's not necessarily the case. Yeah. Right? And when you compare the turnout numbers to previous years, and that's what I've been doing over here this morning, making me do math. Which is really,
I'm sorry.
But, in 2020, you had 57% turnout, right? You had 2018, you had 40%. 2016, you had 66%. Now, there's presidential races in there.
That steers some of it, too, yeah.
Right. But when you look at 2018, they were sitting at 40%. All right. So now we're at 2023, which is an off-year election, and you're down to 32, right?
Yeah.
And I dare say a lot of people Wednesday morning, as often happens, I think actually as always happens, think I could have been indifferent. I know enough people felt the same way I do if we'd all shown up, right? And it's really, if we'll take the time to run some of the errands that we run, right, and not vote, that's why a lot of people are kicking themselves this morning as well. Because they know every vote counts. We've had some very, very close elections, not just nationally, but locally and regionally. And as an historian, what I look at is what's keeping people from voting. Is it an apathy that they feel like their vote doesn't count? Is there shenanigans going on? Is there a lack of as silly as it sounds, getting there?
Yeah.
Is it they feel like their voice is not being heard by either candidate? And I think you would agree in this election, people felt like they were being heard.
Yeah.
People felt like they were being identified. I know with Ward Calhoun coming on this radio station, we invited all the candidates.
Absolutely.
You saw to that.
Yeah, that was an exhaustive process trying to get all the it was kind of trying to put a herd of cats into a wheelbarrow and keep them there. Trying to get everybody in here, but we put invitations out to Republican and Democrat alike, and just gonna say it like it is. You know me, not all accepted.
And but I'm interested.
Or we didn't hear back.
Right.
From those folks.
Right. And I think it's important to point out, and I've not done these numbers yet, but I'm going to, the people that actually appeared on this show and actually took calls,
yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And engaged with the people, the vast majority of those people who did that won. And some of the folks who didn't even respond to our invitation, numerous invitations, I should say, and I say it was you driving this whole thing, you and Roger and Charles, and they lost, and I wonder if they're wondering, right now, if maybe I should have gone on there, because we treated everyone very fair.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Chick Johnson, who's a Democrat for one of the Justice District 1 seats, he said, you guys were always real good with me. And we didn't ask any gotcha questions. We weren't out to get anybody. We simply said, hey, This is your time. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your campaign. Tell us what you want to do to make Lauderdale County better. That's all we were doing. And it wasn't like we were just going to sit there and put a hot light underneath you and interrogate you or anything like that. It was just a simple, hey, tell us about your campaign. Pretty simple stuff, I think. So,
and I thought it was interesting that several of the people who had been on here and willing to come on here and were willing to come back, they're always been available. They've in their previous jobs, if they were running for something for the first time, or if they were already employed at a place they were running, or you had the office, you could pick up the phone and call them.
Yeah.
And that's very unique for Lauderdale County. That's a very unique situation.
Well, and I'll say this too, and being very honest about this when I say it, I've made a lot of new friends in these candidates. You know, even the ones that are not going on either to a runoff or the general election. You make, this job is all about relationships and making friends and, keeping contact with folks and good, solid folks that are running for these offices. And I tell you what, when folks go to vote in this runoff coming up on the 29th, they're going to have some tough decisions to make, us voters here in Lauderdale County, because we're going to have 4 quality individuals running for these runoffs. And I'm talking about coroner, and I'm talking about District 1 supervisor. These are 4 just good quality people right here, just good folks. And it's going to be a tough, tough decision for folks that do go out and vote in the runoff.
That's
and
right.
we know traditionally, Toby, runoffs, let's be honest about it. You just talked about the numbers in the this primary race we had on Tuesday, but the runoff numbers, would I dare to say cut that in half or lower?
Easily. And the people who were ahead, between a runoff, the one person that was already ahead, their biggest fear is the folks won't turn out, because generally the passion is on the underdog side, so to speak.
Yeah. So, but it's going to be interesting to see, and we have already we're going to make attempts, obviously, to get those 4 runoff candidates kind of in together. We want to get both coroner candidates in together and both the District 1 supervisor candidates in together, and they've all agreed. We just got to get dates and times kind of hammered out. We're just trying to let the dust settle a little bit from Tuesday, because Tuesday was a very intense night. Let's just say that. So, mornings in Meridian, 601-485-9191. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I got a few bills to pay before we get to Fox News, but appreciate you making us a part of your Thursday morning. The 2 best hours of local live talk radio. We'll be back. As always, pick on Roger. Is there a reason you played that? For me, just felt like it.
It's a happy song.
It is a happy song. So we're just a few minutes away from the top of the hour. Going to be a short segment here on Mornings in Meridian. And you heard us mention a few moments ago that $5,000 could be yours here at WALT. Yeah, the budget went up, by the way. I forgot to tell you about that.
Yeah, that's got my attention. Are we eligible, or are we? No,
well,
not really.
You're still kind of an employee.
Well, foot. Okay,
I forgot to tell you.
I paid those taxes back.
I don't know. The DOJ's at the front door, along with the IRS and their 87th. Anyway, WALTmeridian.com. Head over there right now, and you will see the end of summer cash giveaway link. You click on it, you register, and you will be in the running for, yes, $5,000, folks. And we're going to give that away at the end of the month on August the 30th. So it's that simple. It's so easy, even Rob and Toby could do it.
So just go again and click
WALTmeridian.com. You'll see the end of summer cash giveaway link right there at the homepage. Take your cursor, click on it, fill out that info, submit, you're in.
That's like voting Democrat in the last election. Just vote from home as often as you want.
There you go.
That's fantastic.
So the end of summer cash giveaway rolls on through the month of August at WALTmeridian.com. Before we wrap up this short segment here on Mornings in Meridian, you got a Goodyear blimp update?
Yeah, I got a phone call a few minutes ago from North Mississippi, folks watching on the air, and the first thing they said was, Toby, you look sick. Are you okay? And yeah, I'm fine, thanks. But they pointed out that the Goodyear blimp is in Tupelo right now. So I'm not sure exactly what that's about. Or
I wonder if it'll steer its way down this way. Maybe.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got our own balloonist around here with Larry and the gang. But the Goodyear blimp, must be something special going on up there.
I like it.
We're approaching Elvis Week. Could have something to do with that.
I'm about to say it could, right? Oh, Brandon Presley might have something to say about that.
Indeed.
There you go.
Indeed.
So a Goodyear blimp sighting on Mississippi soil today.
Mississippi
at least
soil.
up in the sky.
Up in the sky.
Up in the sky. So there you go.
And I am not sick. It's just, the tint on your computer screens, what have you. But the guy wrote in and says, I see you on Facebook Live, WALT.
You feel okay?
I feel fine.
Okay. I mean, I didn't see you. You hadn't lost a step. You still going. Pretty good.
I appreciate it, yeah.
I think what it was, you were talking about Mama June. I think that's exactly what happened there.
Oh, I can see what you mean.
That's why people say you look sick, because you were talking about that. And Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh,
yeah. Here, watch this. We're gonna take a break, and we need to do that before you lose your breakfast. So we'll take a break, and got Fox News, and we'll dip more into the local politics and the Ducey question that was lousy. We'll get into that coming up next hour here on Mornings in Meridian. Stay close. right, welcome back in. It is Mornings in Meridian here on News Talk 102.1 WALT, online at WALTmeridian.com, and, of course, that Facebook Live feed at WALT Talk Radio. Go like us and follow us there on social media. We're about 10 minutes into the 8 o'clock hour, and you got Rob and Dr. Toby Bates on the show this morning. Good morning, sir.
Thanks for having me on this morning.
Absolutely. A fun first hour. And, well, you got your ball cap there?
Yeah, I wanted to show this real quick. Is that showing on the...
Yeah, that's showing on the feed there.
On the TV.
Look at that. On the TV.
Yeah.
He's on the TV.
Yeah. This is... the red, white, and blue. See WLT Mornings in Meridian.
Look at that.
Look at that.
That's a one and only right there.
It is, because I had a guy that was going to make a whole bunch of them. He got arrested, actually. But,
well, all right.
But I got this one made right here. So
good thing you got that done before he went away.
Right. He said, I made you a sample, but I may be out for a few weeks, and that was
or longer.
2 years ago. That's right. And but he was selling some NFL stuff that was had the tags cut out of them, and he picked them up. A lot of that stuff was made in China and made in Korea.
And Bangladesh and other places.
And he was buying them from Korea, and so he thought he was covered, but it was actually, they were getting the stuff from somewhere and cutting the tags off, and he was getting them very cheap, which meant, his customers were getting them very cheap. But yeah, it's a Mornings in Meridian ball cap. Pretty cool little cap here. You're going to see these more and more around town because he has a parole hearing coming up. But yeah, I thought I'd bring that in this morning.
I love that.
So,
I love the connection. All right, corruption at Mornings in Meridian. I love it. Well, folks, thanks for making us a part of your Thursday morning, and big thanks to our friends down at Battery One Source, folks. John Dufour and the staff. When it comes to batteries, they have got you squared away.
They do, and Rob, again, I hate to sound like a broken record here, but it's about the heat. Mm-hmm. We again associate batteries and problems with car batteries and truck batteries with cold, but the heat can drain it too, folks, and you're seeing a lot of people sitting on the side of the road. And the great thing about a battery is quite often it will warn you. It'll warn you when you're starting to have trouble. And it'll take a little bit to turn over, give you one of those little things like Biden trying to do math. And sounds very similar. And you think, well, I need to get this, somewhere and get it checked. You don't, and then one morning it does nothing. Exactly like Biden, right? So Battery One Source is where you need to go. 2618 North Frontage Road. Again, John Dufour. As we say, the man's so nice, they named him twice. 693-1500, especially if you're about to take a trip or you've got loved ones starting school up and maybe going off to college or whatever. You don't want them having any kind of trouble on the road. You can take the car by there, or truck. They'll check the battery absolutely for free. 693-1500. And the other thing is they'll check the battery parts. We forget they have cables and posts and maintainers and tenders. They'll check all that as well. So folks, go by and see them before there's a problem. 693-1500, Battery One Source.
All right, our number here at Mornings in Meridian, of course, is 485-9191. We'd love to hear from you folks out there. And, of course, as we said during our first hour, yesterday was a very busy show as we were recapping all of the primary numbers from Tuesday night, and we really spent a lot of time on that yesterday, and we'll go over some more of that coming up here shortly. But we had a lot of the candidates that called up yesterday that were winners on Tuesday evening, and some that are going into runoffs. Check in on the program yesterday. We had, of course, Ward Calhoun on the program yesterday. Ward was a little tired from campaigning, and, of course, a long night on Tuesday night watching the returns come in. But Toby, hadn't got your take yet on the sheriff's race. Ward Calhoun, of course, that's been the big story here in Lauderdale County since the returns came back Tuesday evening. But won the race with 7,175, and Ricky Roberts with 5,579. This is the race that really steered the whole process, I think, on the Republican side of things, because we talked about the total vote, but folks, Republicans voted 12,822 to Democrats 3,342. So, and I imagine that some Democrats did cross over and vote Republican because they were really driven by this sheriff's race. So I imagine that some of those folks jumped over to that Republican camp because in Mississippi, obviously, in a primary, that's with really anywhere, you got to vote party this go around. So, and of course, if you voted Republican on Tuesday, you can vote in the runoff coming up at the end of the month. But if you voted Democrat, not so much.
You cannot.
You can't do that. So, but just your take on the sheriff's race there.
Well, you're exactly right. There's generally in every election, especially an off-year election, as they call these, odd-year elections, there's generally one item on the ballot which drives the whole thing. That's why people are going to go vote. And as you can see from this race, there were some people that voted for sheriff, didn't mark really anything else that they might have had to deal with on the ballot whatsoever. Fairly or not, if you supported Ricky Roberts, then I would be pleased with the number of votes that he got, because overall throughout the state, the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department is recognized as really being top of the line. They are looked at and kind of respect and awe, in large part because of they have Meridian slap dab in the middle of the county, right?
Right.
And Meridian with all of the issues, right? And the fact that Sheriff Solly and his group, and he always takes anything you give him, any kind of accolades you give Sheriff Solly, he always turns around and passes those off to the men and women of the force. But the fact that the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department has done so well, not because of some things, but I should say in spite of some things, has got a lot of attention. And so even in the northern part of the state where I spend, my weekends, they were watching this race, but because of the solid job that the Sheriff's Department was doing, the grand jury, and they had come out and kind of pointed to, I put it that way, but maybe Meridian could learn a little bit from the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department, I was somewhat surprised with the people that called and were surprised at the vote total. They expected a whole lot more votes, a whole lot more people turning out for this, because they were very passionate about how well the Sheriff's Department was doing, and those who felt like a change needed to happen, that change in this case might be a good thing, they were just as passionate. The numbers total 12,000 were low compared to what I was told to expect. The victory was not such a surprise to the people that watch this in North Mississippi that I talked to. When things are going well, you don't change just for the sake of change, right? And the idea was that this is someone who's going to continue the direction which Sheriff Solly has built, but at the same time bring his own strengths, and his own vision to the department. I talked to a couple of Ricky Roberts folks, obviously not on the air, but I talked to those folks, and they were fairly pleased, with how well he did against a department which does have the reputation of the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department. But they too were surprised at what they called a low turnout. They expected a lot more people to show up.
I've heard that same sentiment on both sides of the camps here. That the numbers 12,822, thought that might have gone a little higher maybe. Because, it was a great campaign. I thought both of them had great messaging. They really put themselves out there, advertising, social media, kept their messages true to form, I thought. Were at a lot of local events. They put themselves out there. But yeah, that 12,822 I thought would have been higher.
Right. When you're talking about what 40,000
it was 41,000. We'll just say 41,000 plus.
Right.
Somewhere in that neighborhood of registered in Lauderdale County. So, well, a lot of people have asked me. Yesterday we covered the election in great length on Tuesday night. Why do you think the race went the way it did? And I'm not going to sit here and try to dissect every little detail about every little detail, and I don't think it's fair. Especially to Mr. Roberts, who came up on the short end here to say, hey, what did they do wrong? What did they do? They had their message out there. They had signs around town. They did their due diligence, and the results, they are what they are. Now, I will speak for Ward Calhoun and what he did on his side, just from us covering this race extensively over the last several months. I thought there was a lot of key factors that really helped Ward Calhoun in his victory. One, no matter which candidate you supported, you can't ignore the fact that the sitting sheriff endorsed Ward Calhoun. That carries a lot of weight. Billy Solly, I think, will go down as probably the most popular sheriff, not just here in Lauderdale County, longest tenured, obviously, but one of the best ever to do it in the state of Mississippi. I don't think I'm speaking any falsehoods by saying that. He's extremely popular, and I thought that endorsement carried a lot of weight. Cassie Coleman, the sitting district attorney, her endorsement a week before the election that she put out on social media carried a lot of weight. Yep. She got very opinionated, threw a lot of facts and numbers out there, and she basically presented her case because she is the DA, and she presented her case. And I thought Ward did a great job of using social media, because let's face it, folks, we live with these phones in our hands, and everybody had campaign pages up, but I thought down the home stretch over the last week or two, he utilized that very well. And I thought both candidates did a great job going door to door, I thought. Presenting their case, so to speak, to the voters out there in Lauderdale County. You can do all the exhaustive work you can going door to door, advertising, doing this and doing that, but ultimately it lies into the hands of the voters.
It does.
And you can't control who goes to the polls and who actually gets out there and votes, who takes the effort to vote absentee, or whatever process they want to go through. So really, you can do all the work you can do either on social media or advertising or going door to door, putting signs up or billboards, but ultimately what it comes down to is the voter.
That's right.
Is that message going to resonate with them to get off of their rear end and actually go to the poll and vote? We got 37 precincts here in Lauderdale County. Some had good numbers, some did not. We heard Ben Shirley mention earlier in his race in District 81, there's a couple of spots here in Lauderdale County. Voter turnout was not great historically in those two spots. So I thought 12,822 was low.
Yes.
I was expecting way higher, way higher.
And I think, back to another point that you've made, what I think needs to be pushed a little harder, I think it's an excellent point, is the endorsement from the Attorney General.
Our district attorney,
yes. Because we forget sometimes that they don't march. Law enforcement and the district attorney don't always march arm in arm singing, right? Quite often there's headbutting going on. Quite often there's a feeling that maybe the DA is not prosecuting a particular crime as hard as they could, or they made a deal which law enforcement might not like, or whatever. So they're not necessarily big buddies. So for a DA to come out and to make a flat out endorsement the way that was done, very impressive.
Well, and two, since it's a truth segment here, let's just go. Hey, you know me, I'm just going to tell you like it is.
Indeed.
Is that a dangerous thing to endorse a candidate while you're a sitting DA? Absolutely, but Cassie Coleman was unopposed this go around, so she's going to be a district attorney again. Could that hurt her down the road, maybe in 4 years if she runs again? I don't know. That's a long ways off. She put herself out there. She wanted to get involved in the process, and there was other folks in the community, business leaders, very prominent people that put themselves out there by endorsing a certain candidate or not. So that was their decision to do that. But I think all in all, and I've said this, my message has been consistent on this. No matter if you supported Ward Calhoun or Ricky Roberts, or if you support Mr. Johnson coming up in the general election, I think all of these men have one common goal, and that is to continue to make Lauderdale County a great place with law enforcement. We know the problems in the city of Meridian. Don't get me wrong. I know when you make that statement, you always say, well, what about the city of Meridian? Well, Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department can't control what the Meridian Police Department's doing. They have to worry about what they're doing and continue to have a standard of excellence. And I think we can all agree that all of these gentlemen that are running and that are going to be in the general election, be Ward Calhoun and Gerald Johnson, want what's best for Lauderdale County. They all have a common goal, and I think we can all agree on that. So,
and also sometimes we get so into the graphics of this and the the infotainment of it all. We forget the most basic thing, and I really think it won Ronald Reagan the election in 1980. In the one and only debate he had with Jimmy Carter, when he looked at the camera, basically said, it comes down to this: are you better off than you were 4 years ago? In other words, are you happy with how this person's doing in this position, if they're wanting to either get reelected or perhaps are the continuation, of an existing program right now, such as the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department and Ward Calhoun and Sheriff Solly, is that if you're happy with how things are going, then that should tell you how to vote. If you're not happy, that should tell you how to vote. And I think overall, let's not get too scientific here. Overall, folks, we're generally happy. The majority were generally happy with how the sheriff's department's doing. Now, the danger there is if they think everyone else feels the same way and they stay home.
Sure.
That can certainly happen.
Sure.
I also know that, as you're saying, that all three of these men want the same thing. There are several people who are not wanting Mr. Roberts to go anywhere. They're wanting him to stay active, and there's other positions he could think about doing, or think about this again. Next time it rolls around. But it wasn't that a bad guy got defeated, right? It was that wonderful problem we had was to choose between between these men. I just want to point out, and I don't mean to stir things up, but
come on,
I believe Sheriff Solly has been very consistent visiting here.
Yes, sir.
With his biscuits and his making us play Stevie Nicks, right?
Which, by the way,
yes,
Mr. Calhoun and Mr. Johnson, whoever wins,
yes,
biscuits better continue.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. We're talking about tradition here, right?
We got to keep the train going.
and Ward Calhoun has certainly not been hard to find, and he actually came and spoke at the station. And the invitation was out to Mr. Roberts as well.
Yes, sir.
Who didn't. Yeah. Now, I'm not equating one with the other. I'm just saying that, that's an opportunity. You said Mr. Roberts put himself out there, and he did. He did. He didn't put himself here, though. And I think that's important. I think that's important to recognize, not that we have any of this great leverage in society, but we do have a lot of listeners, and we do have a lot of concerned people who listen to the show. And it would have been another way to reach out to folks. Yeah. And so, anyway, that ties into hoping Mr. Roberts doesn't go anywhere and stays active in the community, because he's well-liked.
Yeah.
He's well-liked. It's just that I think you have to get down to the basics. Were people generally happy with the way the sheriff's department was going? Yes, they were. And so there would stand to reason, But I can tell you, Ward Calhoun didn't look at it that way. He was running like he was 30 points behind.
You always have to do that.
That's right. That's right. He did.
And I imagine when we get into the general election, he's going to have that same attitude.
That's right.
Which you should have. I don't care if people tell you on the street, hey, Ward, you're the heavy favorite, man. You got this. But in his mind, nope. You can't.
Right. Nope.
You can't assume anything. So, but we're gonna kind of let the dust settle on the sheriff's race, because we've got a long way between now and November. But as we said yesterday, round one, ding, complete. But round two is coming up at the end of the month with the runoffs, and then round three will be in November.
And the sheriff's race, of course, gets a lot of attention because I'm not saying this is necessarily true, but it is an office which voters think, okay, that has a lot to do with my day-to-day life. Maybe
it does.
Much more than some of these others.
Well, and it does, and simply because on this program, like many others, what's the main concern out there in the area?
That's right.
Crime is number one. I don't care how you slice and dice it. We can talk about business coming in this area. Why aren't we getting industry in here? Why aren't we getting this? Why aren't we getting that? But if you're not safe and secure, everything else don't matter right now.
That's right.
And I think a lot of people want safety and security right now. You've heard us preach that message over and over and over again. The Sheriff's Department has been the kind of standard bearer of that. The Meridian Police Department is struggling. And and that's the other thing that I'm concerned about. I hope the relationship will build somehow between city and county and law enforcement, because let's face it, sometimes that's difficult, and that's going to be, I think, concern for some, not all voters, going into November, is like, how are we going to repair that relationship between city and county? And I'm pretty sure that whoever wins will do their best to get that done.
And the men and women who put that police uniform on for Meridian every single day,
the few
that do that, they're not the enemy.
No,
they deserve our support. And because the few that are out there, I mean, does the word Alamo mean anything to anyone? Right? And they're out there every day putting it on the line.
Absolutely. I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and take a phone call here at Mornings in Meridian at 485-9191. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Hey, guys, how y'all doing?
Hey, now.
Listen, I was just going to mention something to you that I wish this community would look at harder.
Yes, sir.
Because of the fact that Meridian PD, that I absolutely love, is struggling, and it's Metro Police, and it's been mentioned so many times. It was done in Memphis, and simply what Metro Police is is the sheriff's department becomes the lead. The sheriff himself becomes the lead agency for the entire county. The current chief of police, basically, in effect, what they would become is the chief deputy. At some point, they kind of combine the two. They have the sheriff is overall, and then you have the PD next in line.
Right.
They deputize every single police officer once that occurs. They all have ability now, instead of a certain number of law enforcement in this bunch that are controlled. Sheriff's Department can control city and county. We know that. I know that.
Right.
But the city is limited. All those officers over there are limited. And the Sheriff's Department repeatedly, thank God, has to come in and help. And what they did in Memphis and other places with the Metro Police is, once those police officers are deputized, they can go across the line. They can go in and continue. A lot of the criminals in our city, when they hit a crime, it's kind of like, if I can get the heck out of the city, Sheriff's Department might be tied up on something else. That officer can continue in the city throughout over there with the assistance of the sheriff and go outbound. So I think that's something that has actually been looked at for a lot of years. And if people would be willing to give up just a little bit of power, that's what's always stopped it, is the administration say, hey, I don't want to give up on my grip on Meridian PD and share those officers with Meridian, with Lauderdale County. But as far as this race, I'm not going to say much about that at all, but I did get my entire family out to vote.
Yes.
And what I would encourage everybody to do, either side, no matter who you're from, get back out and vote.
Amen.
Get back out and vote. It may not have gone the way I wanted or other people's may have wanted, but on a couple of these races, but that's life. That's politics, folks. Get back out and vote, because I'm going to tell you this last thing, guys, and I hate to hit and run. I got my voice messed up. I'm a lifelong Republican, and as somebody that's a lifelong Republican, when the games are played, the rules are followed, and we do what we're supposed to do. I'm talking about electoral-wise. Once those elections are over with, as a lifetime Republican, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to vote Republican again. I'm going to vote for the guy that I'm going to vote straight Republican. And my family, I've taught them since they were old enough to vote. I call my children, I talk to every one of my children, all my children that can vote got out and voted yesterday. Every single one of them. And that's what we've got to do. We can't just say it's just me, I vote, and my wife, us. We've got to reach out to all of our relatives, all of our friends, everybody, and say, hey, if you call yourself a Republican, get your butt off the couch, get off the seat, get out there and vote. And, yes, we will be voting the straight Republican ticket. I know the Democrat man on the other side on the sheriff's race. I've known him over 30 years. I will just say this. We don't need Chicago and Detroit coming into Lauderdale County. And that's exactly what we would have. All right, guys, I hate to run on you, but thank you so much.
Appreciate your call this morning.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
All right. Fantastic call right there.
I love it. Get the whole family out. Absolutely.
Well, and I'm just going to peek behind my personal life here. My mother went and voted, and she has a hard time getting around. And she said, can you take me to go vote? And I was like, I can. She said, it's important. And I was like, wow. And she just does not get out and vote a lot. She's registered, but took her to go vote, and dadgummit, she made her mark. They brought we did curbside voting. I want to thank the poll workers out at our precinct. They came out there. She signed the book, showed her ID, and all that other kind of good stuff, and voted. And I wish people had that. Yeah. Gosh almighty, you know. It's just,
You'll all get together to watch a ball game, right? A certain ball game, certain balls, something like that, right? You'll all make the effort to do that. You'll all make the effort to go by when somebody's hurting or whatever, but do the same thing. And I love passing it on to his kids and stressing to his kids.
That's
I love
great.
what the caller said.
My father did the same to me, and every time that door is open at our precinct, you're going to find me. So
it sounds so trivial, but quickly, I just feel good after I vote. I feel like I've done something, with myself.
And plus, you get to wear the cool sticker all day.
You do? You do?
I like the sticker. It's something so small, but it's just kind of like you going like, oh, we got my sticker on
That's
today.
right. I've done my part.
We're going to take a break here on Mornings of Meridian. We know the phone lines are lighting up again at 485-9191. We'll get to your phone calls after a very short break. Just stay with us. I cannot wait to see them tonight. Sister Hazel here on Mornings of Meridian. Of course, they're going to be playing a show tonight at the MSU Riley Center. And tonight, they're going to have a pre-show social beginning at 6 where they're going to introduce the next season of big shows there at the MSU Riley Center. So the show's at 7:30 tonight with that pre-show social, and cannot wait for the Sister Hazel show tonight.
They work so hard down there to bring great acts and great talent into Meridian, and yeah, I'm glad you're going. I'm glad you're going to be a part of that.
That was my birthday present for my wife.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I got for my birthday. She said, I said, yeah, absolutely. I love Sister Hazel.
Great music, great venue.
Absolutely. So that'll be the big one they'll play tonight. So, but 601-485-9191. Let's go to the phone line. Got a caller waiting on the line. Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Let's see, we got Rob and Toby.
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Well, you know.
How did the returns come out in Sickling? It looks like the race went fine, so you're back in office again.
Yeah, I didn't have too much opposition, and
I'm just glad that scandal didn't hurt you any.
There you go.
Well, we won't talk too much about that.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind this morning?
Well, I was listening to the gentleman talk about being a firm, dedicated Republican, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. but I'm going to play devil's advocate this morning. Now, how many voters do you think we have in the city and county combined that are Democrat?
That's a heck of that's a heck of a question. The only thing I know is the registered as far as the breakdown. Because the thing about it is, here in Lauderdale County, Toby, I'm not sure about this, but I know in some states you have to register one party or another. I know in the state of Florida you got to,
Right.
but here in Mississippi you don't have to register as a Republican or Democrat.
Right.
So.
Right.
So.
Well, my comment is that the next sheriff is going to depend on how many Democrats get out and vote.
Yeah,
you
you're right.
Think about this now. We've always talked about the sheriff's department needs to take over the city and run it because it's got such poor leadership.
Mm-hmm.
We've had good leadership, and I think we'll continue unless the Democrats get in the leadership of the sheriff's department also, which it very well could happen.
Yeah.
Think about it now.
Yeah.
It's a very, very real possibility. And if that leadership goes in a Democratic way, you can expect the sheriff's department to turn out to be just like the effectiveness of the city police department. It is not effective, and everything is going to go downhill fast.
That would take a tremendous get out the vote effort to get the Democrats to do that. They would have to be more involved than they've been in the last several elections.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope you're right, but it's just a thought that's been going through my head, and that just shows you how important it is for people to get out and vote.
Amen.
Yeah. And in these local elections, I mean, we've seen races in the past where it's come down to a handful of votes.
That's right.
I mean, look at this right now. After we got done Tuesday night, look at the coroner's race, how close that got. Stella McMahon, obviously the leading vote getter, but there was a 49 vote difference after absentee counted. Of course, the affidavits, all the certification still has to be done. But there's a 49 vote difference between Graham and Kevin Smith for second place to get in the runoff. That's how razor thin some of this stuff can be on the local level.
Right. And sometimes the qualifications in some people's mind is not as important as control. Control. That's what cities has happened to them. The Democrats have got in control of it, and look where it is. It's gone from bad to worse. I didn't think it could get much worse, but I believe it has. And the same thing could very well happen in the county.
I just hope when we go into the general election that this Republican number will still continue to be high, and I think it will be. And like Toby said, it would be a tremendous get out the vote effort for that script to flip. But it's like I said in the previous segment, I think number one issue right now for folks, not just here in Lauderdale County, but in the city of Meridian, is safety and security right now.
It is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
And Mayor, there's a good chunk of Democrats that I know that are supporters of the direction that the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department is going right now, so that it would not only be a tremendous get out the vote effort on the Democrat side, they would have to be a large number of those voters to suddenly change their mind or flip. Because
and of course too, when we get to the general election, you don't have to vote along party lines.
Right.
The whole thing is going to be wide open. That's the beauty about the general election. And a lot of people, we've had folks call up on the show too. They said, I get the process with primaries, but there's some races on one side of the ticket I wish I could vote for, but I have to vote party lines on primaries. But general election, obviously, it'll change completely.
Well, yes, there's been plenty of people that run on the Democrat ticket that was good, solid people and could have been good if they'd gone into office. But they have a bad reputation overall right now. And my biggest pet peeve is having separating the primaries, the Democrat and Republican. It ought to all be open elections on every vote.
Yeah.
Primaries and the runoffs and the general.
Well, and we had one caller a few days before the election said, these judgeships and the sheriff's race should not be a political affiliation. Those, especially the judge seats,
Right.
Should not be. But that's the law. That's state law. So.
Well, you take Donald Trump, for instance. If they got all jury and prosecuting attorneys and everything as Democrats, you think he'd get a fair election?
Nope.
Well, I just how I do that with Donald Trump and those indictments is that every time he gets an indictment, that's a reminder for me to floss my teeth. It happens that often. I just got another indictment, time to floss.
Well, in my opinion, the way I think, the more they indict him, the more I'm convinced he is the one that we need to vote for and elect.
I mean, this really is extraordinary historically that the Department of Justice for his opponent, for his political opponent, is indicting him. This is absolutely unreal. It really.
And then the judge, one of the prosecuting attorneys, tried to get the judge to rule that when he gets on the stand, Trump, he cannot talk about anything political. Well, that's what it's all about to begin with.
Right.
Well, even if they slap him with a gag order, he's not going to follow it.
Right, exactly.
He's not going to follow it.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, it'd be hard to gag Trump with
right.
Wee little bit. That's right.
Yeah, he talks sometimes a little bit too much, but
Indeed.
That's Trump for you. But then, that's my opinion. So we'll just wait and see, and I hope everyone has a great day.
All right, there we go.
I love that.
Makes my life a lot
does.
better when that happens.
Just a generally nice, happy guy. Makes you feel good when he says that.
There you go. Before we get into some of the national stuff here, I want to thank our friends at Barber & Sons Plumbing. Folks, I think they invented plumbing down at Barber & Sons Plumbing. I tell you what, third generation, Gary Barber, Gayla Garvin, just fantastic folks.
Great folks. And a lot of people, Rob, right now hearing our voices, they've got two bathrooms in their house, one they're using and one that's broken, so that's why they're using it, right?
Right.
The bathroom closest to the bedroom's broken. They don't want to fix it, so they're using the one in the other part of the house, and they'll get to it by and by because plumbing is awful. It's messy. It's all cramped. You can't work on it. You don't know what kind of part you need. You bump your elbow. You yell at your wife. She brings you the wrong tool, or maybe you bring her the wrong tool, right? And there's always going to be a fight, and you bring up her mother, and it's just nasty. Don't do that, folks. 601-482-7023. 601-482-7023. Barber & Sons Plumbing. Folks, here's amazing. If you have a plumbing problem, you go down there, you tell them what you've got. Quite often, they'll teach you right there how to fix it. I've tried to get them to come out to the house several times. Toby, even you can do this, right? And they taught me things I didn't know that I could do, right? And you need a particular part. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, they've got that part, or they've got a part that'll work. And so don't let plumbing, right, take over your life. Use the bathroom closest to the bedroom. Quit walking past the broken one to go to the one that works, because eventually that one's going to go out too.
Yeah.
Let the experts step in. Barber & Sons Plumbing. Again, 482-7023. They are simply the best. Barber & Sons Plumbing.
Let's go back to the phone line here on Mornings of Meridian. Hey, caller, good morning.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing today?
We're doing great. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah,
Clearly.
we got you loud and clear.
Yeah, I got a question. I didn't understand the way the ticket was done yesterday when I went to vote, or day before yesterday when I went to vote.
Right.
I went in and they said, Democratic or Republican? And I said, well, I don't really want to say.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't really, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be a matter of what I'm voting, but the woman said, well, you got to choose one.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, the sample ballots are on the wall. And I walked over to the wall, and I'm like, well, what if I wanted to choose one from one and one from another based on the merits of the individual?
Can't do it.
Not based on the D or the R.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
Can't do it, though.
And she said, you can't do that. You got to choose one camp.
Yeah.
Choose a camp and stick with it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's
Didn't
been
make any sense to me.
it's been like that for eons.
Well, I've never voted locally.
Yeah.
I've always voted for a president, and
Yeah.
that's just the only thing I've ever voted for. And then I've decided, hey, you know what? My voice counts.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can enact some change. And it said, oh, no. Oh, you have to change the way we want you to.
Yeah, and that's the way it works. Like, say, if you voted Republican on Tuesday, you will get the opportunity to vote in the runoff at the end of the month, because obviously the county-wide race that'll be in the runoff will be coroner. Now, if you voted Democrat, there will be no Democratic runoffs whatsoever, so you cannot go vote at the end of the month if you voted Democrat, because there's going to be nothing on the ballot for you to vote for. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't see anybody headed to the D table.
there you go.
I'm just saying, I didn't see very much of that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think a lot of people have voiced their opinion about that, and there's some folks on either ticket they would love to vote for based on what you said. But when we get to the general election, it's wide open. You can vote Republican, Democrat, however you want to. It's kind of bonkers, but it is what it is, as they say.
I wonder why they do it that way. Anyways, I just thought a little strange. Maybe y'all could give me some insight on it, but.
It's changed in a lot of states. A lot of states, they used to have it that way, and they changed it.
Sure.
And one reason they had it that way historically, one reason is because quite often in certain areas they were so locked into one party.
Right.
There was no opposition whatsoever.
Right.
It was the same individual, same office every time.
Yeah.
And it was a way to generate, competition. And actually just a choice. But I love how, you're exactly right, caller. I love how they tell us that we're locked into certain parties and we won't vote a certain way, and that's on us, and now shame on us. Then we go vote. It's exactly what they make us do.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. Not to mention that on the R camp, that it was nearly two sides. Whenever you went down there and flipped it over, nearly the second side was nearly full. So if you did have the other camp on the same ballot, then it wouldn't even be one piece of paper anymore.
Right.
Because there'd be so many names on there that would turn into two pieces of paper. Maybe that's why they did it.
Yeah. And of course, too, remember this, too, and we really emphasize this during the process, that you can skip over something on the ballot, when you vote. You don't have to, like we have all the unopposed candidates. If you skip over that, no big deal. You have that right to do that, so...
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that one.
Yeah.
Next year I want everybody to write my name in.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm just gonna run and I'm not gonna put my name on the ballot. Just everybody write my name in.
There we go.
Write Tambourine Man in there.
There we go. Well, hey, we got another caller behind you, but appreciate you this morning.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, 601-485-9191. Last call before we get into our break here. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Good morning to you.
Hey, Joe, how are you, Joe?
I just always love how y'all react.
What's on your mind this morning? I'm pretty sure a lot.
Joe, you're the only woman's name I can scream and my wife doesn't get mad.
Oh, now wait a minute now. If she only knew, right?
Indeed.
Oh, wow.
Boy, you would be in so much trouble. Anyway, I'm really disappointed that Ben didn't make it, because I know that Steve Horn never, ever, ever has anybody answering his phone. And that's really disappointing to me, because when things happen, you want to know that you can call somebody.
Now, Joe, is that because he's out working for the people and he's not answering the phone? Could that be a reason?
Excuse me?
Is that because he's out working for the people?
It doesn't matter. You can carry your cell phone anywhere.
I hear you.
You did it.
That's no excuse. And I know that I have called Billy Adam, and he's answered the phone. I've called Judge Todd. He's answered the phone. I've called Ben Shirley, and he's answered the phone. So don't make an excuse for him. That makes no sense. There is no reason for that. And I'm also very happy that Mr. Ward Calhoun won. Because to my way of thinking, if there's nothing wrong with it, like they say, if it ain't broke, can't fix it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I've never had any complaints about the sheriff's office. I've never heard anybody complain about the sheriff's office. So why would you bring somebody new and screw up the program? Right?
Yeah, well,
I hear you.
Can't argue with you on that.
Well, that's my whole contention. So I really didn't get to go over the numbers. And personally, I think I should have put my hat in the ring for the coroner's office.
Oh, there you go. Joe for coroner.
I mean,
Joe, do you vote in Lauderdale County or do you vote in Newton?
I vote in Chunky at the Chunky Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay, good deal. So you had the 81 on your ballot and all the Newton County races. Okay.
Yeah. And I also got my sticker. I posted that on Facebook yesterday that I voted.
There you go.
So I was all proud and happy of that. And, you know, voting is like a two-edged sword. You have people that say that my vote doesn't count, right?
Right.
And then when that candidate loses and they say, well, you see, my vote didn't count anyway because my guy didn't win. Well, actually, that's a bunch of baloney because all that means is that there weren't enough of you to go out and flip the switch. Which means the next time you got to get more people to go out there and go vote for the same person you did. Right?
Yeah.
Sure. Get involved. That's
Absolutely.
right.
So if people don't get involved and start paying attention and realize who these candidates are, then we're always going to have this problem. We're still going to be voting for the wrong people in office because the right people that need to get in can't get there because people don't want to go vote. They think it doesn't matter, but it does.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm going to let y'all go now. My guys are coming, and I love y'all.
Love you too. Bye. Well, actually, it's two names that we scream. It's Joe and then Stella for corners. We did that yesterday. So we got another phone call on the line. Hey, caller, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, sir.
How y'all doing?
We're doing good. How are you?
Another day closer, thank God, and it ain't to the weekend.
What's on your mind?
They talking about not needing change. What I'd like for the people to do, if there's some way to do it, as far as the sheriff's department, let's find out how many sheriff's department calls are directed towards the western Lauderdale side of the county versus all other sides of the county put together.
Okay.
And see if we don't need some change. We keeping things quiet. What goes on out there and everything else comes to a head before it happens in all other parts of the county.
Right.
Food for thought.
There you go. All right. Appreciate you out there.
Why can't we get Roger to, well, never mind.
No, don't go down that road.
Let alone get him to show up.
Wait a minute now.
That's probably why Roger doesn't need to run for office because what? Oh, never mind.
Because it's working, Bob?
He's an easy target when he's not here, so.
Oh, exactly. Well, that's all right. When he comes back, I'll get on him.
Come on, he'll be back. He will be back Monday.
Okay. Well, I can get on him between now and Monday, too, but I'll get on him on the air, too.
Yeah, on the air is so much fun. It's so much more fun. So.
Oh, you know it is. You know it is.
All right.
I know it's time for y'all to go to work and let Glenn get in the house.
Yeah, Glenn's about to take over here in about 2-3 minutes, but hey, we appreciate you.
Y'all have a good day. God bless.
Appreciate you. All right. 601-485-9191. Yeah, we are almost out of time, but before we get out of here, we've got to thank our friends right down the road from us here at Mornings in Meridian, and that is Billy Adam Calvert and his hardworking staff at Southern Business Supply.
You know, they know that you want to have happy workers. You got to give them, a comfortable place to sit. You got to give them enough room to put their work out. You got to get them the right tools to do the job and the office supplies and things like that. If they don't have any of that stuff, they can't do the work you want them to do. So give a call to 490-0652, 490-0652. Talk to Billy Adam Calvert and the gang down there at Southern Business Supplies. If you need it for your business, they have it, including furniture. Seats are very important.
You darn right they are.
Because you need to be comfortable enough to work, but not too comfortable to sleep.
I like those chairs that you can kind of lean back in and catch a cat nap, and then
that's right. That's right.
Oh, exposing yourself there.
And Toby-proof staplers and things such as that. When you call, you don't get this. For this number, hit this. No, you got actually live biped. You're actually a real live person you can talk to right here in Marion, 5685 Dale Drive. So, folks, if you have a business and you're getting your business supplies from somewhere other than Southern Business Supply, you're costing yourself money and you're costing yourself some business. Give them a call, 485-2447, Southern Business Supply.
Gosh, we didn't have time to get into the lousy question from Ducey. Did you see that yesterday? That
I did.
He actually got to. They let him climb over the barricade
That's
and
right.
walk up to Biden and ask him a question. It was about him being on the conference calls. That's been obviously with Devin Archer's testimony about him being on there. And he said, "I knew you'd ask a lousy question."
Yep. And then no more questions, Al said.
Yeah, and then
him,
they
right?
said, and then I was like, no, nothing to see here. We got to go. So we didn't have a whole lot of time to get into that, but I'm pretty sure we'll talk more about that tomorrow.
Yeah, and some of the national stuff that's going on can affect local apathy as far as people voting and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll talk about that.
So, but your boy Biden just.
My boy Biden.
Whoa, those are fighting words right there.
Sounds like a show we used to watch. Came on after Leave It to Beaver. My boy Biden.
My boy Biden. Well, as long as he can stand upright.
That's right. That's right. Not a strong wind anywhere.
Yeah, I never met a set of stairs that, well, anyway. So, folks, we're going to take a 22-hour break, and we will be back tomorrow morning, and it'll be open phone lines again on Friday, 601-485-9191. Don't forget to listen to our stream over at WALTMeridian.com and, of course, Facebook, WALT Talk Radio. Glenn Beck is up next, followed by Clay and Buck, of course, the great Sean Hannity, and my man, Joe Pags on your drive home. Toby, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Folks, have a great day. God bless you. And, of course, what do we always say? Buy local.
I thought I'd seen it